Hello and a very warm welcome to the brand new edition of Policy Watch. I'm Kriti Mishra. The Ministry of Statistics and Programme Implementation has sought comments and suggestions on the draft National Statistical Commission Bill 2019 to make data collection more transparent and reliable. The present draft NSC Bill proposes to establish a National Statistical Commission as the nodal and autonomous body for core statistical activities for the country to evolve, monitor and enforce priorities and standards and to ensure coordination. The bill primarily envisages encouraging government agencies to proactively bring forth issues pertaining to the national statistical system for discussion in the Commission. The Ministry has sought comments and suggestions on the draft bill by January 19, 2020. And for deeper insights on the topic, I'm joined by Ms. Anuja Bapat, Deputy Director General, Ministry of Statistics and Programme Implementation, Mr. Surendra Nath Tripathi, Director, IIPA, Dr. Subhash Chandra Pandey, former Special Secretary, Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion. Welcome to Rajya Sabha Television, all of you. Ms. Bapat, let me come to you first. Take us through the crucial highlights of the NSC Bill 2019.
Thank you for inviting us here and giving us a chance to elaborate on the crucial points of the bill. So as you see, National Statistical Commission Bill is not something that is coming out of nothing. Rajan Commission, which was the original commission that was established in 2000, recommended that there should be a statutory body, advisory body to look after the core activities of, or to advise the apex body to advise the official statistical system on all the core activities of the statistics in country. So it's a long due follow-up which we are now taking up. So this bill actually, as you said in the beginning, it aims to create a nodal, autonomous, independent advisory body which will take care of which will guide the entire statistical system, official statistical system in the country, primarily to envisage the policy, the direction of the policy, the standardization of the methodologies, the processes and the products that all takes to constitute the system.
Mr. Tripathi, since we're talking about the Commission and there was this long felt need for an independent apex advisory body for official statistics. In that context, how important is this bill?
In fact, this is not only important, rather relevant also. It appears to be slightly delayed, but nevertheless better late than never. Advantage is that we need a structured data collection for many of the government-oriented policy interventions in solving various issues. Today, data is the new oil, but if the data is not collected in a structured fashion, in a manner which can give the desired conclusion, desired result which will benefit the policy maker, it will be of no use. Like till recently we had a data of houseless people, but that cannot be shared with the agency who are providing housing. Similarly, the data of poor people is available with a ministry, but that is not available to the ministry B or department C or agency D. The Statistical Commission perhaps will set all these things to rest, A. B, it will also advise the government on the using the modern robust system of collection of data. Because if data is the oil or new water, whatever you call it, end of the day, if it is not available in the public domain, it is not nearer to the truth. The credibility is under question, or people have different opinion about the truth. Truth or post-truth or fake news and all those things, the media is full of all these stories, many of them may be true also. But fact remains that data needs a statistical approach, a sound approach, a robust approach which is globally acceptable. And perhaps this National Statistical Commission will fill up that gap. I was member of advisory board of Ministry of Planning, MOSPI as a financial advisor. I am also a member in the ISI, Indian Statistical Institute. I have seen it that we have got very perfect people who can visualize all these things in global standard. Point was, we have not used them efficiently. Now the time has come to put their statistical knowledge into policy data collection.
So you've used a very important word, credible statistics.
Yeah.
So how important is this bill for providing the credible data?
In fact, providing it statutory and legal status and giving it adequate authority and autonomy in providing the structures and perhaps validating it in due course will be a good idea. That's why this is very historic and we should welcome it also. The recent controversy about job data or about consumption data, at least one thing we should appreciate the government, that government is setting the not only house in order, but putting the credibility to test, because people can't walk away with I mean, we all are entitled for our opinion, but we are not entitled for our facts. Facts are facts, and they know two sides of the truth. Here, by questioning everything, we had made a mockery of many of such databases. A statistical commission with a legal background and legal backing will put to rest to many of the things. Maybe it will create some more issues, but that we will solve it as and when it comes. And I do hope that the people who are interested with this job, or who are likely to be heading these commissions, will do their job. And in the past, we have created a legal institution, legal structure for data. They have done their good service. So I have no doubt that this commission, as and when it comes, and then recent the notification of the government is also in the pointer in that direction.
Absolutely, but you made a very important statement that you're entitled to your opinion, but not to the facts.
Right.
But moving on from there, Dr. Pandey, as Ms. Bapat pointed out, that in pursuance of the recommendations of the Rangarajan Committee, the National Statistical Commission was set up in the year 2005. But in the absence of any legislative framework, it was difficult to implement the suggestions or in fact the measures that this commission pointed out. This particular bill will provide more teeth to this body?
Yes. I would like to put it in a little bit of a historical perspective of this development. After the Southeast Asian crisis, there were a lot of concerns about international surveillance of various risks to fiscal policy, monetary policy. Any trouble brewing in any country which goes unreported and outside the radar of international agencies can create in this globalized world problems for everybody. The problems can transmit through trade and investment link. So after 1998, the International Monetary Fund had taken special steps to promote fiscal transparency and transparency on the integrity of national accounts, financial statistics, etc. And they set up a special data dissemination standards to which we have subscribed. So as a result of those exercises, one of the elements of that whole architecture is a credible, independent body who can be perceived as working out at an arm's length from the government, not influenced by government, in messaging the official statistics, so that it carries international credibility and cross-country comparisons can be made. So it was in that context that Rangarajan Commission had initiated. Initially, it was set up without a statutory basis. Now it is being given a statutory basis. But all that, the whole thing is that we know we are subscribing to United Nations Statistical Commission led systems right from 1948. And by far internationally, our statistical systems have been lauded for their robustness. Only of late some controversies have risen, and there also many of them are technical in nature. For example, how do we treat informal sector data in GDP estimates? How, what is the credibility of WPI deflator in working out from nominal GDP to real GDP and growth? But these are technical questions. These can be probed, and IMF missions visit almost every year, and our agencies, ministries work with them. So this is a technical exercise. How do we depoliticize it and make it a sign? That will be the challenge before the National Statistical Commission.
Absolutely. So how do we depoliticize it? We'll get to that point in just a bit. But Ms. Bapat, tell us about the powers of NSC according to the draft bill.
Okay. So as you realize, NSC is a statutory body now. It will have primarily its functions defined in terms of core statistics. When we say core statistics, it is the statistics that can be considered crucial for monitoring the socio-economic policy of the government. So statistics for the informed policy making, that is, if constitute core statistics, and Commission will have authority to monitor it, enforce standardization on the methodology, as I said, on products and process of collecting and defining statistics. So all the core indicators of the economy or the policy making, wherever the data is to be collected, how it is to be collected, to some extent by which agencies to be collected, who are the what will be the skills of the people who will be collecting this data, what will be the dissemination of policy of this data. So the entire gamut of activities, statistical activities related to the core statistics will be standardized and rationalized by the commission. And but as you understand, this is an advisory body, so it will recommend to the government on all aspects of core statistics, and not just core statistics, but also because if you see the construct of data in the official statistical system, it's not collected only through statistical activities, but also through administrative records. So whenever the core statistics is found either in statistical exercise or in administrative statistics, Commission will be empowered to advise the government on these issues related to standardization, release, timely release, dissemination, the way it is collected, the way it is processed. So all that will be with the Commission. When you say core statistics, Commission will actually identify what can be the core statistics, what will be the policy about in these core statistics, the collection of these core statistics, and the methodologies and the standard parameters, definitions involved in the indicators, defining the indicators. So all that will be within the statistics, the Commission's power. So Commission will actually have the power on the surveys, on the administrative data records which create official statistical system, and to monitor, advise the government on all such issues related to these things. Yeah.
So the NSC would be empowered to set parameters.
Yes.
But another important point, Dr. Tripathi, that Dr. Pandey just said that how do we depoliticize the entire data collection system or the mechanism?
See, let's first, I support the idea of my previous speaker that NSC has set the things in a legal perspective, that there is legal backing of the same data which was earlier collected in official manner. So data is the same. Now we have a legitimacy through a legal backing. So what we call it, the science of data is given a legitimacy through this bill and through this commission. But this commission will advise the government on various basic core and other non-core activities or statistical principles and framework which will be put to use. But in addition to the science of statistics, there is a art and politics of statistics.
Absolutely.
The art is lost because the credibility of the institution is not there. And politics will always follow that or change it in case people will interpret data according to their own way of looking at it. Like I just discussed in my previous submission, that houselessness. Houselessness depends upon what you call it, rooflessness or a houselessness or adequacy of the house. For somebody having no roof is houselessness. For somebody having a small room or a one room accommodation is a too small to be called a house.
Right.
So, and the people will use it the way they feel like. Limited point of my today's debate is that we are setting all those things to rest by giving a legal backup, A. B, we were putting it ourselves exposed to the national and global standard, that our data collection is not unlike the guided democracies or guided some of our neighbors that they do manage the data,
Yes.
but others it will be exposed to the public. And I hope that they will also use the emerging technologies to use the data, big data analysis, artificial intelligence, machine learning, all those tools will be used instead of making somebody asking a person and today consumer give what we call it colored answers. If you ask me what you need and if I am hoping something, I will give the answer accordingly, irrespective of what question you put. So at least a arm's length distance, as Mr. Pandey was saying, and a statistical and a statutory backing will give the data a data, it's what we call the science of data. And then art and politics will follow that, and we will use it the way it is good for the policy making. After all, without data, governance and society manage their affairs. We have been a functional society and a functional democracy with the inadequate data also. Not that all these bad. Government has been making policies, but evidence-based policy making, data-driven governance, the way our Honorable Prime Minister is saying that minimum government and maximum governance, all those things will happen in case we rationalize the data, find out beneficiary, pass down the benefit to them in a DBT format or all those formats. All those things will become possible through a credible data, legitimate data and verifiable data. Perhaps all these things will be the outcome of this NSC commission. And they are being advisory in nature, therefore they will have freedom to think even beyond their current mandate. so that they can think loud, they can go for thinking what are the global standard, what is doable within the Indian environment, what is desirable within Indian environment, and how much we can go and follow those things.
And data-driven governance will be made more robust.
Will be the outcome.
But Dr. Pandey, according to the draft bill, the decision of the central government, whether in case of policy or not, would be final. Now, many experts have expressed concerns over this particular clause of the bill, saying that it goes against the demands of making the body autonomous.
No, this is a standard clause applicable for all what we call a statutory autonomous regulatory bodies, which were earlier very much part of the government, and they have through legal separate laws, they have been created as a statutory. And a body is as actually in practice you will see many of these ways, they will be as autonomous and as the incumbents would like them to be. So, a lot depends on who occupies them and how they run the institution. It is an exercise in institution building. I would like to continue with this discussion on the quality of data. This we have a lot of issues about this quality of data, vetting the sources and misreporting, misinvoicing, and that is why it is being suggested that if we connect it with the larger agenda of the governance of digitalization and formalization, the more and more problems arise, because if something is not recorded, undocumented sale, how do you capture it in GDP calculations?
Right.
So, you have to make extrapolation. If hypothetically, if you sell a chair and show in invoice as table because chair is taxed higher, then you are doing two things. You are evading tax on one hand, and you are fudging the statistics of chairs produced and sold in the country. So, how do we collect data? One part is that Ministry of Corporate Affairs, corporate filing databases we use, but that will cover corporate entities. Right. A lot of economic activity takes place outside corporate world. How do we extrapolate? Now, GSTN has come as a new data source. It is yet to stabilize in a way where it can disseminate and share data with the economic policy wing and state. And I am sure one of the major tasks before NSC will be how to take this MCA data and GSTN data, so that this is come not based on any surveys. It has come in through an autonomous process, data given as a single source of truth at a transaction level. So, you do not depend on surveys as much as possible, you minimize dependence, because it is the surveys which bring subjectivity, the choice of weights, choice of commodities. If you are measuring say Sensex,
yes,
which companies are part of Sensex, if they are fast moving, slow moving, depending on that Sensex movement give out a different outcome. So, similarly IIP or which commodities are included, which companies are included, which are not included. So, that if you make it, and that is possible through modern technology with digitalization, that you do not take a sample based limited space approach, you explore the whole universe through data. And with that, it is only an added backing that technologically sourced data has also been analyzed, compiled, consolidated through at arm's length. It will also be a source of comfort.
And standardization would be the key.
Yes.
That would be the very important aspect.
Yes, as it says, key understanding. When we were working with the say Indra Awas Yojana project, defining homelessness, defining who is poor, defining who is illiterate, there can be different measures and understanding. When you fill up a form, the person who has prescribed a particular entry has a certain understanding in mind. The person who is filling, if he fills it with a different understanding in mind, the data is vitiated.
Absolutely. But talking about another important element, Ms. Bapat, what would be the powers of the NSC in case of data provided by non-government agencies?
See, this is an unexplored area which we have put in. See, today as we all are saying, it is a data-driven governance, it is a data-driven discussion, data-driven policy domain, and the paradigm has shifted, the scenario has shifted. Not only government is producing data, there are people, credible people in institutions who are into producing information about things which relate to public, which concern public. So, with that idea, and since we are talking about commission, the primary role of commission as building trust in data, building trust in information which is out there in public domain. So that is with that idea, if you look at the non-government agencies which are also doing producing information which relates to common public, commission may consider it that their processes can be not verified or checked, but can be assessed for a better understanding of the work that they are doing, and to put it more transparently in the public. But this is so that is with that idea that this initiative, I mean, this has been put in the bill. It is not final. We are exploring this option. Suggestions are invited, and it can be made voluntary. I mean, it is the commissions, it is possible that if the non-government agencies find it beneficial, it adds to their own credibility in terms of being audited by the commission, they can also voluntarily opt for it. So these possibilities can be explored, but this is something that we are bringing in because the scenario is changing. There are people there are players in this field, national and international, who are working on things which interest public, which relate to public, which concern public. So let us see if we can jointly, prepare something, bring out something which acquires more trust, which has more trust of people in that system.
Absolutely, and it is just a draft, and suggestions are being sought and comments are being sought. But Mr. Tripathi, I'll give you the last word on the show. How important is this bill for making informed policy decisions?
You see, the good thing is that National Statistical Commission and its need has been accepted. Government is very clear that it needs to be given a legal and legitimate status. And the current thinking of the government is already reflected in the bill. It also says that government is open for the suggestion. If there are legitimate, good and viable suggestions, government will certainly consider. And to make the National Statistical Commission a legitimate body, trustworthy body, and a body which can be relied for anything and everything in here and after, it itself is a welcome step. And I thank all those who have thought of it, and it's a good and timely step.
It's a good and timely step, and it's a welcome step. On that note, thank you so much for joining us. So the importance of creating a strong, independent authority is crucial for ensuring public trust in the official statistical system of India. That's all we had for you in this edition of Policy Watch. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned to Rajya Sabha Television.